Hi Soul Space, it's Sheila Hill here, Monday night at 9, and I have a great topic to talk to you about tonight. We are going to be talking about the Akashic Records, and then using the Akashic Records and consciousness to heal the body. So in continuation of our high-level juiciness from the last few weeks of stuff we've been talking about. So as you come on, please say hello in the comments so that I know that you're here. And I'm just going to start with a question for those of you that are coming on live. Who here knows what the Akashic Records are, or like understands what the Akashic Records are? Yeah, just post it in the comments. Hi Nancy, nice to see you. So if you are on and you're watching and you have a stabbing guess, or maybe you have intimate knowledge of what the Akashic Records are, how about you post it in the comments and get the conversation started. Hi Joanne, nice to see you. Thanks for coming. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get in because I know for the people that watch the replay, sitting here watching me wait for answers is not fun. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the Akashic Records is, for all intents and purposes, to give you some imagery, it's like a giant library of all of the souls. So all of the souls, hi Tenley, all of the souls, including your own, of every single lifetime that each soul has ever had, the lessons that they've learned, the karmic contracts, all of the stuff that's happened. Imagine them all like, I envision them as being, remember when you would buy like a full set of encyclopedia? For those of us that are old enough to remember that. So it's kind of like that. It's like every lifetime your soul has ever had gets a book, and they're all kept in this library, and then everyone else's souls are all there. So it's called the Akashic Records. Now, of course, it's all in energetic form, so there isn't actually a library with books and a librarian, but for our human purposes, that's what you can sort of imagine what the Akashic Records are. So the Akashic Records has all of the information about all of your past lifetimes, all the lessons that you've learned, and then, hi Sarah, and then the lessons that you are sort of penciled in to learn on this lifetime. So if you could, and not if, but, well, yeah, if you could go to the Akashic Records, which you can, then you can go to the Akashic Records and open the book for this lifetime and ask your guides questions, and you can be shown answers. So that's sort of how the Akashic Records works for those that are interested in sort of just getting a preliminary understanding of the Akashic Records. So I'm just going to take it a couple of steps further. So we go through, hi Debbie, we go through this lifetime assuming, or under the understanding that our soul is here having a human experience, and within the human body here on earth, hi Anne, we have lessons that we need to learn. And then sometimes we have relationships with people where, excuse me, there'll be talk about, oh, there must be a karmic contract there that's being filled out, or, you know, that karmic contract needs to be cleared or whatever. And that all comes from the Akashic Records. So everything that happens in your lifetime here, we always talk about that being sort of something that is predestined, that it's something that is a requirement of your soul to have as evolutionary experiences here in this lifetime. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring to you sort of a concept that I believe to be true that kind of breaks that up a little bit. Sorry, I'm fighting a cold. I just got to get a drink. Now we live here, part of our human contract, the human part of us, is that we have free will. So here is how the Akashic Records really works. What's written in the Akashic Records for your lifetime right now is a predisposition to experience this or that, or this illness, or this relationship, or this breakdown, or whatever boxes were ticked as far as what your soul needed to learn. And it comes from incomplete karmic contracts from past lifetimes. So when you come into this lifetime, you're actually sort of carrying with you some of the baggage from past lifetimes of things that weren't completed, or experiences that weren't completed, or the full evolution of the experience wasn't had by your soul, so you're back to do it again. So that all goes with the understanding that we kind of all have had about why we're here. When you look at the Akashic Records not being as a destiny or a fate, but just a predisposition, it all makes a lot more sense. Because what we are being exposed to, or the experiences that are coming into our life, or the karmic contracts and things that our soul signed up to experience in this lifetime, are based on unfinished stuff from previous lifetimes. Excuse me. So if it's just a predisposition, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to re-record this. If it's just a predisposition and we have free will, then in actuality, every time a lesson comes to us in our lifetime, that is in actuality something that we've carried with us karmically from a previous lifetime, we have free choice to bring consciousness and intent into that situation and change the outcome. And when we do that, we are in actuality completing the contract so that it doesn't have to be brought forward into another lifetime. So what comes from the Akashic Records isn't, again, it's not destiny, it's not fate, it's just a predisposition. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. It's just a predisposition to have a certain outcome based on your past lives. But if when you're faced with those circumstances, you bring consciousness and awareness and intent to change that karma, then in actuality, you sort of pass the lesson and you don't need to do it again. Yeah, I'm okay, Steph. I've been sick since last week. Excuse me. Purging. I'm really sorry. This video is going to be a mess for the people who watch the replay. Okay, so that certainly, when you look at it from that perspective, takes the victimhood out of the spin of, well, you know, it says in the Akashic Records that I have to go through this, that, or the other thing. Because in actuality, we are here in free choice, and the free choice allows us to bring consciousness and intent into every single situation. And when we do that, we will actually be changing our karma and changing the Akashic Records in almost like real time. So every time we have the opportunity to show up in a different way, to bring more love, more compassion, and less judgment to a situation, whatever it may be, either with ourselves or with another person, then we actually are changing the Akashic Records. So I think that is super empowering. And for me to have come to that sort of next layer of understanding of how the Akashic Records works is super empowering, because it means that we all have the opportunity every minute of every day, that when we bring our new broadened and expanded consciousness, awareness, and intent into every minute of our lives, we are actually making everybody's karmic contracts different. And we are changing everyone, including our own Akashic Record, in real time. So that's super powerful. Okay, so the next piece that I wanted to talk about tonight is that you can actually heal your body using the Akashic Records. So the way that this works is our DNA has a consciousness as well. And, oh, hang on, Sarah's got a question. If we choose to opt out of the situation and not experience once recognized, does that heal or, and that's as far as I got. So type in the rest of your, I can't see it on the screen. So if you choose to opt out of a situation because it's the most loving, if opting out of the situation is the most loving way to be, then perhaps for that circumstance, it is going to be clearing that contract. But if you're opting out and therefore not seeing through the situation with the person that you're supposed to be seeing it through with, then it's not necessarily going to. So there's a fine line between whether it's avoidance, which you're saying, Sarah, whether it's avoidance or whether it's actually taking sort of the higher ground and choosing to be loving and compassionate. So, excuse me, so for example, say someone's in a marriage that is not serving them, say perhaps, I don't know, we'll just throw some circumstances around. Say the man's abusing the wife and she stays and she stays and she stays. And she's like, well, he's my soulmate and must be in my Akashic Records that, there must be some lesson I'm meant to learn here. Well, in that particular case, maybe the lesson that she needs to learn is to love herself enough to walk away, because she's enabling the situation by fulfilling that other half of the contract with him. He's not going to change his behavior as long as she's there to take it. So there would be a situation where I would absolutely advise that she love herself enough to leave, because God, universe, source never wants any of us to be in a situation where we're not being honored. And most of all that they want for us is for us to learn how to honor ourselves deeply. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's sort of off the top of my head, a great example of where I believe that opting out actually would change the karmic contract, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is that God just wants us all to love ourselves and hold compassion for ourselves wholly and completely, first and foremost. You're welcome, Sarah, and I'm so glad you love yourself. Good job. So back to talking about healing the body. So our DNA has a consciousness, and water has a consciousness. So if you have ever watched, and if you haven't, I advise that you do, Google Dr. Emoto, E-M-O-T-O, Dr. Emoto water experiment. And that will show you in like a 3-minute little video clip, absolutely, how water has a consciousness. And so when you think about it, our DNA has consciousness, and our body is made up of like 60 to 70% water. So in actuality, our body, aside from the messages it receives from the brain, has a consciousness of its own. Now, the wonderful part about being human, and the part of our free choice that allows us to manipulate our human body, is the fact that it replicates. So, I mean, this is science, and I'm not anything like, I'm not a scientist or a doctor or anything, but our body actually rejuvenates itself about every 7 years. So, I mean, different parts of us are rejuvenating at different times in our lives, but in every 7-year cycle, a certain amount of cells all rejuvenate themselves. So that means that using the consciousness of our DNA and the water that's in our body that is also consciousness, we have the ability to tap into that and change the replication of our cells. So much like the human experience, when we talk about, people that are 3D, and I know that that's kind of a judgy thing to say, but I'm trying to speed up the talk here, where they're just on autopilot, like the unawakened people in the world, and God love them and bless them in time. It will come for them, but they're on autopilot. So they're maybe not aware of their thoughts, aware of their beliefs, aware that there's another way, sort of just very autopilot-y type of people. They just keep doing the same thing. When they expand their consciousness and bring consciousness, awareness, and intent into their lives, we realize that there are so many other ways of being, ways of doing, ways of believing, and ways of thinking that can actually change our life experience. So the cells in our body are exactly the same way. Once a cell begins to replicate itself and duplicate itself, it's on autopilot. It's just like, do we do the same thing? Nobody's saying otherwise, so we do the same thing. And then perhaps a mutation gets in there, a mutation that's going to become cancer, for example. And it gets in there and it goes, are we going to do the same thing? Yep, we're going to do the same thing. No one's telling us otherwise, and it just keeps replicating. So what if, and not what if, but I'm here to tell you that it's easy, but it's simple but not easy, that we can actually tap into the consciousness of the water in our body and the consciousness of our own DNA. And when that conversation, that nanosecond of a conversation is had that says to itself, do we do the same thing again? And it goes, I'm not hearing any other instructions. We can tap into that and give other instructions by telling it to go back to the Akasha, to the blueprint of our soul's original creation, and use that information as its source for duplication. Mind blown, right? Like, is that not freaking incredible and powerful? That is the ability that we humans were given in the fact that our bodies replicate themselves and that our DNA has consciousness. It was all a part of the plan all along. And we just got down here and got all marred up in being in our ego and the density of the human confinements of the body and the construct of time. And we all went on autopilot, and no one ever thought to think outside of the box. When really all we have to do is, like, we can change our thoughts, that change our experience, that change our emotions, that allows us to manifest. We have the power to do that for our own health and our own bodies as well. So, just a little experiment that I've been playing with is I have a sunspot on the side of my face, and it changed. Latter part of last year, it grew like a little skin tag in the middle of it. So I have an appointment to go to a dermatologist, but that took months for it to happen. But in the meantime, what I do is every time I think about this little mole on the side of my face, I put my fingers on it, and with intention, I just tell it that I love it. I just say, I love you, and thank you for showing me that that maybe I haven't been as careful with my skin in the sun as I should have been, but I love you and I thank you. And you've served your purpose, and you can go. And the skin tag is almost gone. My appointment's in a couple of weeks at the dermatologist, which I will still go. I'll still do my due diligence, but the skin tag is almost gone. So just something I just wanted to play with a little bit, because again, everything is energy. And again, the water in our body is always listening. It's listening to everything we say. And the DNA in our body are like carbon-based DNA that makes us physical, and then we have spiritual DNA as well, which is a whole other topic for another night. It's always listening. So all we have to do is, with consciousness and intention, is tell it what we want it to do. I mean, I keep telling myself and the mirror and whatever, I'm not aging. This is it. This is as old as I'm going to ever look. I'm just going to keep looking the same way forever. And you know what? Maybe people will laugh at me, but it seems to be working. So you can do that. You can heal your body. So let me just see. I made notes because there was so much that I wanted to talk about. But I think I covered it all. I just got babbling. At least the coughing stopped and I got babbling on. So we can speak into our body anything that we want. And any kind of ailment or dis-ease or discomfort that's going on in the body, it happens, it starts out in the auric field, in the energy bodies outside of our physical body, first and foremost always, and then it works its way into our physical body. And once it lands, then we need to ask it, what is it showing me? What are you trying to tell me? And while you're healing and your cells are replicating, please go back to the Akashic Records, Blueprint for My Soul, and start replicating based on that information. Or you can say, like, to your guides or to the universe or to God, what would it take? Show me. What would it take for blah, blah, blah to be healed? I realize that autopilot doesn't work. Show me what it would take. Bring some version, whatever is comfortable for you, whatever naturalizes for you. Bring something into the awareness, the intention, and the consciousness in your body and help it heal itself. Because again, The power we were given as humans that nobody really realizes is that we were given this free will opportunity every single time the cells replicate and every 7-year period that our bodies rejuvenate itself, so that we don't have to age, we don't have to be sick, we don't have to have disease. It's also a part of our free choice. So, any questions or comments on that one? We're just waiting to hear. No, everybody's brain is just blown. No questions? Excuse me. I first and foremost just want everyone to understand how absolutely freaking powerful you are. I am, you are, we all are. We have incredible power to be able to change our bodies, change our experiences, tap into the spirit world. We were never meant to be isolated. Like, all this stuff. Like, you just get marred up in your life's experiences from the past and you get stuck in that autopilot, and then you just need somebody to poke you to get you out of there. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to poke you and remind you that you are absolutely incredibly powerful on levels that your teeny tiny little ego brain, and I don't mean that in a demeaning way, of course you know that, can't even begin to fathom. So start tapping into your power, start playing with it, start figuring out different ways to show up, different ways to be, different ways to have consciousness and intention and compassion, and first and foremost self-love with yourself, and change your life and change the people around you and make it what you want it to be, because you're powerful enough to do that. All right. Wednesdays, meditation, my house. We always talk about this stuff, and then we do some kind of a meditation. I've been doing a lot of healing meditations lately because a lot of people are going through a lot of stuff right now. The purge is real. I've been sick like this since February 9th. So the purge is real. And I know a lot of you are going through a lot of stuff. So Wednesday nights, it's not sort of just meditation circle. It's like support group and energy healing and meditative healing. We're doing a lot of stuff to really support people. So if you're feeling like you need a little bit of support or a little sense of community, get in touch with me and come on a Wednesday. The other exciting, super exciting piece is the Soul Space Spring Retreat is coming up 1 month tomorrow. 1 month tomorrow we go on the retreat. I have space for either 5 or 6 more women. Go on my website, look at the pictures and on all the information that's there from the last retreat we did in the fall. It was absolutely incredibly magical. And I have absolutely no reason whatsoever. The venue's a lot nicer this time, for it to not be that again. Because again, it all comes from intention. I'll come to your question in a second, Tenley. It all comes down to intention. So when you sign up for the retreat and you intend for yourself to heal, to expand, to grow, to discover, to explore, and to transform, and I set the intention by holding the retreat that that's the service that I want to bring from my heart space to every single guest that comes. I want them to have whatever transformation they're meant to have. Guess what? It's no longer up to them or up to me. It becomes something that is just created in the universe through our guides and masters. So if this event speaks to you, we laugh, we cry, we dance, we eat. You know, it's not all really heavy stuff. There's a really good sort of ebb and flow. So if it speaks to you, then please get in touch with me, because it's sort of coming down to, I've got to nail some seats and find out exactly what the numbers are going to be. And then there is my book launch. So I've written a book and the book launch is coming, and it is going to be the second week in May, and it's going to be a huge event, hors d'oeuvres, and it's at a club and the whole bit. So that will be coming up soon too, and I'm super, super excited, and I would love to see any of you, all of you there to support me and get a copy of my book, and it would be a lot of fun. So Tenley, I just want to go back to your question. Sorry, I'm touching the screen here. So is it fair to assume that if I ask my body to regenerate based on the Akashic record, that's, okay, so that's the, and then I lost it because I can't do the see more part, and that my spiritual DNA knows what that means. Your intention. So that's what I'm saying. Like whatever words naturalize for you is fine, because what you're doing is you're actually bringing your intention, the energy and the intention. So if you don't get the words exactly right, that doesn't matter. Your intention is somehow, I mean, to communicate with the universe that you go to Akashic something and get the blueprint, and right? So it doesn't matter if the words aren't perfect. Your intention is that that's what you want it to be. And likewise, if you have like aches or pains or whatever in your body, you know, like just put your hand on it and ask, you know, what is it that you're trying to show me by giving me this pain? Talk to your body, love your body, no body shaming allowed, ever, ever, ever. Not to you, Tenley, I just mean like to everybody watching. Yeah, so it's just all about intention. You don't have to get the words exactly right. Any other questions or comments? And Debbie, if you're still on here, I see that you're hoping to come this Wednesday. Awesome, that would be great. The Wednesday night crew is a really nice group of people. I'd love to see you. And I think, sounds good to you, Anne. Awesome. All right. Well, my hacking cough didn't come back. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. If you were watching it on the replay and you have questions, then by all means, I stay on top of this. We have, oh, there's another full moon coming. Oh, and here comes the cough. Excuse me. There's another full moon coming on Saturday, March 31st. I did post in the group an article about it because it is going to be bringing up a lot of emotional purging. I know, and like you read it and you go, oh my God, really? There's going to be more? But you know what? It's what we signed up for. We all signed up to be here, and if we have to go through this stuff to get rid of all our baggage so that we can be the most powerful, sparkliest, amazingest versions of ourselves, then that's what needs to be done. And you don't have to do it alone. I am here. The community's here. I saw some really beautiful posts going on, conversations between different members in the Soul Space group with each other that have never even met each other, totally loving and supporting one another, and it was beautiful. So that's what this space is for. I'm going to sign off for the night. I love you all. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching every Monday. Please share the group if you think there's people that you would like to have be a part of it. And think about coming on the retreat. It's going to be a great weekend. I'll talk to you all soon. Talk to you later. Good night. Bye-bye.